Hey guys, this month I played in a turn-based tournament over on BGA, organized by Abstein, and it consisted of a round-robin stage of four groups with 9 players each, followed by a single elimination knockout stage. I ended up winning my group, and in the quarterfinals, I was paired up against second place finisher from Group 1, which was tournament organizer Abstein himself. And his group was kind of amusing, by the way, because in the final round, there were 3 players on the same number of points, 10 points. And the tiebreaker in this tournament was score difference. So the total score difference in all of your group games. And it happened to be so that Jesse was playing the last game of the group stage, and he was losing. But he had a better tiebreak score than Abstein. The problem was that he was losing by such a margin that his tiebreak score would end up worse than Abstein's. But because of like some strange rules on BGA, where like if you time out, your score will count as only having lost by 1 point. Technically, Jesse could have just timed out, and he would have lost by 1 point and kept his lead on the tiebreaker over Abstein. But at the end, he played out the like he only had one greenery conversion left. He converted his greenery and showed some good sportsmanship and gave the second place to Abstein. This was my starting hand in the quarterfinal game, and my hand is pretty decent. We're back on good old Tharsis. I have the choice between 4-gate and CSM. There's really nothing. I mean, there's absolutely nothing for 4-gate here. So already I'm pretty much deciding on going CSM because it's one of the better corps on Tharsis and in general. I see one great card in my hand, Restricted Area. If you saw my tier list video, this card is in the S plus tier, so I love to see that. We have some decent preludes, Great Aquifer and Supply Drop, whereas Martian Industries is more situationally playable, and Nitrogen Shipment is really not all that great. Great Aquifer is especially good on this map, where you can get 2 cards and 2 titanium, and sometimes you can go in the middle for plants as well. Apart from that, I don't have too much exciting in my hand. Like Asteroid is okay, I guess, especially if we're going supply drop. I have some minerals I can use for that card. Strip Mine is sort of interesting with the CSM ability. That card is discounted. Predators could be good sometimes. But the other cards aren't really doing much in my opening hand. Maybe you could argue for local heat trapping as a speculation, but I don't have any heat prod. So what I'm mainly looking at here is how to manage my plants early on, because I imagine I'm going supply drop. That will give me 3 plants, and I'm going Great Aquifer. So what I could do is I could just pick Great Aquifer, put the two oceans here, and then go Restricted Area in the middle for 2 extra plants, and then convert because I'd be at 9 plants. That is okay. It's less exciting to me when I'm going second player, because I could just run into something like Virus and I immediately lose most of my plants, and then that sort of ruins my first gen. Also, I think the main strength of Aquifer is that you can get these 2 cards. That is just very good. And my hand is kind of empty, apart from like basically Restricted Area is the main saving grace. So I'd really like to have some more cards. But I think like the starting hand is somewhat straightforward. Like we definitely go CSM. I think we definitely go Great Aquifer and Supply Drop, and then Restricted Area. And then since the hand is so empty, I think you definitely do keep Asteroid and keep Predators. And I believe I end up keeping Strip Mine as just like a speculation. So yeah, I only keep these 4 cards here. Meanwhile, Abstein is playing Inventrix. He plays Acquired Space Agency. Not too many discards like Research and Olympus Conference, Nuke Zone. Those are, and Cartel. Those are good cards. So like Science is mainly the thing that's nerfed. Could be good for me since he's going Inventrix and I don't really have that much Science so far. But he drew Miranda Resort and Space Mirrors, not the greatest draws either, so I'm happy to see that. I play my Supply Drop and then Great Aquifer. So now I could go on cards and Titanium, which would usually be the default, but I already have 3 Titanium and I only have 1 target, so I don't really need that right now. What I'm looking at is potentially getting an early greenery. Again, like I said, I could go for 4 plants, but then I lose out on the 2 cards. So what I do instead is that I put one of the oceans on the 2 cards and the other one on the 2 plants here. So kind of not the usual spot, but my plan here is to, after this, because now I'm going up to 5 plants, and by the way, I draw Electrocat, which is a great draw with all my steel, and Airbrake Ammonia Asteroid, which is probably not a card I'm looking to play. My idea with going here is that next, if he doesn't put any tiles here, I can put restricted area on this typical city spot. That will get me up to 6 plants, and then I have the option of going SP Greenery Convert, because remember, we are playing on the Tharsis map, and with that play, I would already be up to 2 greeneries and just be 1 SP away from Gardner, the Gardner milestone. CSM is a rich enough corp that you can allow yourself to do stuff like that. Also, if I'm playing Electrocat, which I imagine I will, I'm going to be quite rich. And furthermore, like maybe I'll be playing the Strip Mine, and then if I SP Convert and maybe later SP a 3rd greenery for Gardner, suddenly we're just cruising up the oxygen track and getting closer to this Predators card, while Inventrix, which is a corporation that very often would like to play plant cards because they can play them earlier, if they go for that strategy, then I just sort of made plant production less valuable, which is good for me because I don't really have any plant production in my hand. So that's my basic strategy right now. Maybe SPing for Gardner, potentially looking to play Strip Mine, and just getting in early Predators if I can. So I do play restricted area here. Skip the second action since, yeah, he drew 3 cards and then skipped second action. And then he plays Space Station. Kind of unusual to play Space Station that early. Usually you want to maybe wait on that card. But he does have 10 Titanium, so he has probably some big Titanium card lined up. And sure enough, he plays the Soletta. And I believe you wrote it in the chat at this point that he just figured he had to try to beat me with this card. He thought that would be funny because I'm a known Soletta hater. So and by the way, Abstein is known as being somewhat terraforming happy in his playing style. I did find it sort of interesting because he just drew 3 cards, played 2 of them. But that meant he had 14 cards before that, 11 before he drew the 3 cards. 2 of them came from Acquired Space Agency, but he basically kept 9 cards from his hand. And Inventrix is known as being a very poor corporation at the start of the game, so keeping 9 cards can be quite ambitious. And especially here, like when he's going Soletta in Gen 1, investing his entire economy into heat production while still being at 20 TR and 0 MC production and only 1 titanium production. So this is looking like a game where Inventrix, as usual, is going to be very poor early on, and I'm happy to see that. So not the scariest of starts from Inventrix here. Okay, I draw with my restricted area. I draw fuel generators. Love to see that because that means I can easily play Electrocat, and I don't have steel production, but then I can decide how many of my 8 steel that I spend on Electrocat so that I can sell off the rest using the activating that card. Skipping second action again because I'm going to 2-action this play here, not to get tapped. He plays mine. I play the fuel generators into Electrocat, and it's sort of an open question here how many steel you should use. Again, like I said, I'm probably looking to play an SP Granary Convert at some point, and then I'm probably converting for the 4 cashback and the steel, so I'm probably getting 1 more steel at least. And then there are ways you can obviously pick steel off the board, but I decide I wanted to spend 3 steel, leaving me with 5. So unless he raids or sabos that steel, I have 5 gens worth of selling, and probably 6 with this one. And usually you can find ways to get steel in other ways. So I'm not too concerned about that. And by the way, you can always sell plants with Electrocat if you get desperate, and sometimes that's even correct. But I sell off a steel, and I'm still at 19 MC. Then we skip. The first draft was actually pretty interesting. Neither of us have played any Joves. He drew Miranda Resorts, but he's still at 0 Earth tags, so, and he also played Soletta, so there's really nothing here that would indicate that he's planning on playing a Jovian strategy, so I'm not too scared of this card, Wife, Water Import from Europa. Obviously the existence of Deco and Ants here is kind of funny. So I could take Ants and sort of bait him into playing Deco. That could be a viable strategy. But I think the best card here for me that I really want is Mineral Deposit, because that's basically going to guarantee that I can continue selling steel with Electrocat for the remainder of the game, basically. And that is a nice thing to have. So I would end up passing Deco and Ants to him. Deco is a very good card, but my thinking here is if he takes Deco, he has to pass back Ants, then I'm going to cut Ants, and that will sort of either dissuade him from keeping Deco, or I can just simply keep Ants, and if he ever does decide to play Decomposers, I can play the Ants on him. Or the other option, if he takes Ants, I can take Decomposers, but I don't have to play it. I don't even have to keep it. So because of that, I just take Mineral Deposit, which is the best card for me. And this one also pretty interesting because, like I said, I think I'm going to push Oxygen relatively quickly. And cards like Biomass Combustors and Small Animals could come online quickly, especially for him being Inventrix. Of these 2 cards, I think Small Animals is generally a little stronger usually. I do have the Predators, so that's a consideration. But I think also, like, if I pick Biomass Combustors over Small Animals here, he might get suspicious that I do have Predators, and he might not play it. That's a thing to consider. But with CSM, it's not even clear that Small Animals is stronger than Biomass. This Biomass could be pretty good, especially with Strip Mine. But I still end up taking Small Animals. I'm not sure. Maybe I should have considered Biomass there. And sure enough, I mean, he took Ants, basically, so the nice thing about him taking Ants, he doesn't get this good card Decomposers, which is, like, in a vacuum, the best card in that pack. The unfortunate thing is that I can't really keep and play it because it's just going to run into Ants. And he didn't take Biomass Combustors. What was the last card there? I don't remember actually. I thought those were the most relevant cards, but I'll happily take both of those cards and along with Mineral Deposit. And I think we're skipping Decomposers because he took Ants, and that's what I do. And sure enough, he did buy 3 cards, so you can assume that he probably kept Ants. But okay, I'm now going for my play. I have 6 plants floating, and if they get destroyed this gen, I mean, he only has 12 MC after keeping 3 cards, so there's a limit to how much plant destruction he can do, unless he has Virus, which is 1 card. But if he has Virus, it's pretty bad. So I decide I want to protect my plants and just SP Greenery and convert here on the 4 cashback in steel. And I pay 23 MC for that play, but I get 6 MC back, so it's only like 17, and I also get steel. So it's actually pretty efficient, this SP Greenery play. And especially here on Tharsis, where I'm now just 1 off Gardener, basically almost guarantee that milestone. So I think this is a good play. Like, I don't have that much else going on. I'm kind of just drawing and electrocatting. I could have drawn first, but then I risked the plants. He's playing the Trans-Neptune Probe and Space Mirrors. So this is basically screaming AI Central to me, because why else would you play the Trans-Neptune Probe here? Which is a little worrying, of course. Like, I imagine he's playing Trans-Neptune Probe Space Mirrors to then use Space Mirrors to play AI next. I sell and draw, and it's a fantastic draw. Research Outpost, maybe the single best card for Terraforming Mars early on. It's just absolutely amazing. But now it's his turn, and he plays Satellites, so probably the Probe and Mirrors wasn't for AI after all. It was just for Satellites to get some prod. And that's okay. The problem is he had to play these 2 cards for 9 MC that maybe he wouldn't otherwise have played. Like, Trans-Neptune Probe is just a point, so that's not doing anything. And Space Mirror is not really a good card either. But I mean, 6 prod is still pretty nice. He needed that to sort of fix his economy. Here, I guess I could play Outpost, but then I don't really have any other plays after that, so I just pass. We go to the next draft. And apparently the play Abstein made wasn't for AI Central, because there's AI Central. So obviously take that. I'm gonna make a mental note of the wild tag there, research coordination. Yeah, can't really complain about my early card finds here. Like, we just found Electrocat, and then found fuel generators to play Electrocat, and then just stumbled into Research Outpost, and then suddenly we top deck AI Central in the draft. So this is about as lucky as you can get, I would say. And especially as CSM, we have 2 of the best cards in the game, and they're already discounted. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. Okay, we have another Jovmalt here. We did pass him a wife, and he did keep 3 cards in that draft, so maybe he kept the wife, but he's still so poor, and he hasn't played any Joves yet, so I'm not too scared of that. And I'm honestly looking at this Towing Comet, which is looking pretty good, because again, that could just advance the oxygen track even more. Enabling and unlocking cards like Biomass, Small Animals, and Predators for me. So I think if I was playing against a weaker opponent, I would have maybe just cut Ganymede Colony here just to be on the safe side, because that's one of the few ways that they might be able to beat me. But against a strong opponent like Abstein, I think you need to basically take every edge you can, and here I think Towing a Comet is the best card, so I take that one. And sure enough, he took the wild tag, so here we're obviously taking Mining Area. That's going to cost me just 1 MC to play that. Lava Tube Settlement is not a great card, even if it's going to be discounted by 3MC. So I imagine I just kept the first three here. Yeah. He buys 3 cards again. He's really low on cash, and then he plays the standard technology. Now we know this isn't for AI Central, but he probably has some other science payoffs, like maybe quantum mass AGT. But it's going to take a while for him to be able to play those. Then he plays research coordination. So looks like he's aiming for quantum, but he doesn't have the money for that yet. So I was a little curious about what this meant. In any case, I now play my research outpost and here. So I could have gone like down south with this outpost and then put mining area on steel to be able to power Electrocat with that steel, but I already have mineral deposits, so that's why I don't really care about that, and I'd rather just go for the more valuable titanium production over here on Pavanis Mons. So I do that instead, hoping he doesn't have AMC, of course. He's playing Earth Office into Loan, so now I'm thinking, oh, he probably does have that. Maybe he does have that AMC, and that would be pretty annoying in Gen 3. It's still going to be quite strong. But I sell off steel, draw, special design could be relevant if I want to enable predators earlier. So I'll just keep that on hand for the time being. And it was actually for the quantum extractor, so that's why he played the wild tag. Again, we know he doesn't have AI, we have the card draw, but still all of the science is at least a little scary, so I need to watch out for that and maybe be careful about passing him more science. We go to the next draft, and Acquired Company is not that great in Gen 4, and we're passing him Beamfront for him Asteroid potentially, but even though it's playable for him, it's so expensive and he's still pretty poor, and he already has 7 heat prod from Soletta, so I don't think he really needs that. And he also has 4 energy prod. Same thing with nuke power. He doesn't really need that. Maybe I could need that actually for strip mine and AI. So probably like nuke. I think it's close here because Psychrophiles is obviously a good card, but I really need power. So nuke power is a card that I want, but it's not, like I said, it's kind of useless for him, whereas Psychrophiles is good for both of us, so I end up taking that. And here there's more power. It's kind of interesting because I have titanium to be able to play Toll Station. That would be 6 prod. And I think I skipped on that. Maybe Toll Station is the best card here, actually. Even though it is Gen 4. Like, Indentured is always a decent card, but not like super amazing. It's just okay. Peroxide is very useful for me if I don't get nuke power back. I take Indentured Workers. I'm not so sure about that. I think maybe I took Indentured Workers because he's so poor and I just want to prevent him from being able to play cheap cards, and then I'm happy with whatever comes back out of the power and what was the other card again? I already forgot. Okay, but nuke power comes back. He took Acquired Company, so I'm definitely keeping nuke power here. That means I don't really need peroxide power. So now I can only keep one of these power cards. Technically, we might need 3 power for both AI and Strip Mine. Both of these cards are relatively inexpensive for me. So I'm definitely keeping the first 2. And I think I end up keeping nuke power. Yeah, that's what I did. So I activate Electrocat, draw, and like I said, can't really complain about my draws. I don't have any plant tags at the moment, and oxygen is sort of moving quickly, and especially if I intend on playing strip mine. So it's not the greatest NRA. At least it's good to know that he doesn't have it. He's still very poor. 15 MC, then he plays Acquired Company into Miranda Resorts, so at least now he's up to 11 MC prod. But it is Gen 4, so investing in more MC prod is not going to be the most impactful. Like, it doesn't really fight for milestones, it doesn't really terraform or do anything like that. I think the play is somewhat incongruent with his Soletta start. I play the Psychrophiles and add to them. And if you've been paying attention, you will remember back in a draft not so long ago, we saw Ants, and he is Inventrix, so Ants is already playable for me. And first he plays Radcam, but I do believe he ends up playing the Ants. But now I play Nuke Power into Strip Mine, yeah. Then he plays the Ants. Ants was already playable for him at 2% oxygen because he's Ventrix. But anyway, he plays Ants and steals the Psychrophile. And to be perfectly honest, I had completely forgotten about Ants. When I took Psychrophiles in the draft and played it, I was like, Ants was just gone from my mind. But it's not a disaster. I think playing Ants against Psychrophiles is not the greatest because I can, like, I'm at 0 Psychrophiles now, so I can just play around it. I can just use Psychrophiles whenever I need to play a plant card, and that's it. And if I do that and he doesn't find another target for Ants, he's just spent 12 MC for this card early on when he's still quite poor. So I'm not too concerned about that. Okay, we go to the next draft. We're in Gen 5, and these are some cards. Arctic Algae with only 2 oceans out is very strong, obviously. Tech Demo, always a strong card. You get to look at more cards. And Advanced Ecosystems is one of the best late game point bombs, so Solar Power is useless, but it's relatively close between these 3 cards, I'd say. But I think you gotta take the Arctic Algae with only 2 oceans out, especially when I have NRA. So yeah, that's what I do. And here, Power Supply Consortium is pretty annoying. Definitely don't want him playing that. Then again, he's technically at 1, maybe 2 Joves with a wild tag, and we did pass him 2 Malts. So I'm thinking maybe we need to start respecting the Joves at this point, and house printing is not really that relevant. I do take Power Supply Consortium, and to be honest, looking back at this is kind of playing with fire, knowing he has 1 Jove and 2 Malts that he probably kept, and his economy is starting to improve as well. But I really didn't want, like, he's first player, I really didn't want to get tapped and not be able to play AI. Even though we get Biomass Combustors, that's still 2 steps away. So I think you can defend it. Like, Gen 5 Vesta Shipyard is not going to be that great, even if it scores 3 points. Here you take Tech Demo, of course. And I could play PSC myself, actually. And I could even consider keeping house printing. Keep 3 cards, and then we would actually be quite close to Planner. He was close to Planner at some point, and I was even curious whether he wanted to go for that, but he didn't, and I think that was definitely the correct decision. Like, he was so poor, like going for early Planner as Inventrix, I think would have been a big mistake. Do I keep all 4? Yes, I do. I think you can justify that. I'm fairly rich, even though I only have 0 MC prod. I have the TR and Electrocat, so that's fine. He raises heat, goes up to 8 heat production, and plays the advanced alloys. So it's starting to get a little bit more scary, especially if he's now playing Vesta into more Joves with advanced alloys. That could potentially be scary. Okay, I draw pets. That's whatever, don't really care too much about that. And here I have planner, and then there's always the question of should you claim that or not? I think I could delay it for next gen, but I have a few plays I want to make. Like maybe I definitely want to play Arctic Algae, I think, and then PSC. Probably Tech Demo draws a card, but I'm hoping maybe to find a science tag for AI. Maybe I'm throwing in an indentured workers. Maybe I even want a special design, small animals, stuff like that. So with 35 MC here, I think it makes some sense to just claim planner. That's what I do. He is playing the Vesta Shipyards, so the Joves are now a real threat, and I need to really start taking them seriously. I sell off with Electrocat and Skip because he just played Ants, so I want to use a Psychrophile to pay for Arctic Algae. First I draw with Tech Demo. Shuttles is a fine card, so after playing PSC, we're going to have the power for Shuttles as well as AI. Let's take a Psychrophile, and then Indentured Arctic Algae. And that's going to be great. I can then play the Tonga Comet on 2 plants and get an immediate greenery conversion here. And that's fantastic. Now we're up to 6% oxygen, and I took all of these oxygen steps. So I'm now at 29 TR. And I already have, I claimed Planner, already have Gardener, very close to Builder, close to Terraformer. So by all accounts, it looks like I'm going to triple him on milestones here. But because I have 3 easy milestones now, what I do instead is I fund Landlord, because he's playing science. He can probably get scientist at some point. He can obviously get Thermalist with his insane heat production. He also has a huge lead on Banker. So I think here it's more time critical to fund Landlord, since that's looking like my only fund. And I'm up 6-0, and I have NRA, and if he starts developing Plant Prod, I can hit him with small animals and biomass combustors. So I'm looking very good on Landlord, and I'm looking not very good on any of the other rewards. And I don't think I need the tempo. It looks like I'm getting 3 milestones anyway. So I do like that play. Now I can PSC him and play the mineral deposit for house printing. Yeah, so now I'm up to 3 steel prod. I don't really need to sit on them and save up my steel in any way. Unfortunately, he didn't develop plant prod yet, so we kept, but now small animals and biomass combustors is online for whenever he decides to do that. Now I can play shuttles, just get some more economy and discounts. And we go to the Gen 6 draft. And this was pretty interesting. Worms could be okay-ish for either of us. Cloud Seeding is not really playable for him because I don't have any heat prod. He'd have to play Cloud Seeding on himself, and that's just not a very good play. Natural Preserve is dead. However, I do still have that special design in my hand, and I'd really, really like to play Natural Preserve. So I just take Natural Preserve here, and it would have been playable for him anyway. These are some pretty decent cards, like Comet is great. Ice Cap Melting is not that great because we're very far from 2 degrees. Heather could be okay to enable NRA potentially, but I think you have to take Comet. That's what I do. Here I think, yeah, I took Lunar Beam. It's whatever. I don't think any of the cards really matter. And I think I just keep the natural preserve here to special design that, actually. He bought 3 cards, and I buy the first 2. And I just play the special design into natural preserve immediately on steel, because I mean, I usually you would go on cards here, but I'm looking to play AI Central. Getting 2 extra steel for that is very nice. He plays Viral Enhancers into AGT. So as we expected, he did have the science payoff. But you can see it took 6 gens for him to get that online. I haven't looked at his side of the game to see if he actually had that in his opening hand, but I definitely suspect that he did. And this just shows how poor Inventrix can be early on. So even if he had a clear path to AGT, it just took him so much time to get that online. Now I'm drawing, and Imported Advanced GHG is not really great, but I play AI Central. Now I'm up to 3 continuous card draw. I got the 8 fund, I'm tripling on milestones, so things are looking great. He converts heat twice, going up to 9 heat production. Activate AI Central. Asteroid mining is not really a card for me, but it's good to know that he doesn't get that. Bushes can be alright, like if he continues to take heat, that Bushes card could come online relatively soon and maybe enable NRA for me. Sell off a steel, and he plays the worms for 2 prods, and I'd say it's okay, but like the problem here is like temperature is lagging, oxygen's already pretty high, so this is just going to run into my small animals and biomass combustors, rendering his worms like completely useless. So that's a great result for me. And this again shows why sometimes, especially I find as Terraforming Mars, it can be so great sometimes to just rush the oxygen track and then neutralize your opponent's ability to score with plants. I claim Builder, play an asteroid on them to take out 2 plants. That's the gen. And I didn't use Psychrophiles because I didn't have a plant tag I was going to play, and I just didn't want to give him more ants. But okay, we're definitely not playing tardigrades into his ant stats for sure. So here I think Invention Contest is the clear pick. Windmills is fine. Steelworks is not online for us. If it was, then this wouldn't be the worst bumper, because again, I'm not really developing plant prod at the moment. Maybe if I get bushes, but like it's looking at the moment like he's more likely to develop plant prod. Like we gave him heather. So I'm not really sure. Windmills is very cheap for us, so maybe that's what you take here. Yeah, that's what I took. And here I think with free steel prod, deep wall heating is actually not that bad, because maybe we'll get into a situation, because I'm obviously leading on points now, maybe we'll get into a situation where he starts hoarding his heat and not taking heat, and then just having the ability to get a cheap temperature bump could be nice, and just more energy, of course. And the bumper comes back, and now I'm not too far off from windmills. I could play deep wall heating, so maybe you just keep the bumper. I don't remember. It's been a while since I played the game. But I could certainly see the case for just keeping all 4 here. No, I skipped the bumper. I think that would have been reasonable to keep the bumper there. I could start using it from Gen 8. Could probably get 2 activations out of that. At least, like maybe, I mean, 3 basically, I think. But okay. He's now playing big asteroids, destroying my 3 plants. But to be honest, I'm not too unhappy to see that, because with such a lead that I have now, anything that advances the game looks like it's going to be good for me. Then he plays the Heather, because now I can't, like, the only card that I can hit him with now would be Herbivores, but we still have 2 steps more for that, and he probably has a hand where he basically needs to go for Plant Prod anyway. I draw with AI, not the greatest draws, but it's fine. Like, Eos Chasma's going to be online soon. That's actually that's pretty good draw, because that's going to enable NRA basically. But like I said, NRA is not that good here. I was playing Noctis City, a little surprising, because I already have a city here, and I'm very likely to convert around my city, which would give him at least 2 points for Noctis. But now I could potentially choose to, if I build another city, I could potentially choose to convert there instead. So he's playing Noctis for the production, but I think maybe it would make some sense to just save Noctis for later, just to maybe get some free points. I sell with Electrocat, and now I can play the Comet because he was up to 4 plants. Go in the middle there. Setting up a nice nice rebate spot for myself there. And sure enough, he had the imported hydrogen. So he was setting up himself for a greenery conversion next to Noctis, which I now prevented. And then he skips the second action. So I imagine what he's doing here is, like, he set 6 plants, so he's potentially looking to SP greenery here, southwest of Noctis, and then convert for the bonus temperature bump. I claim Gardener. Was there any rush to do that? Yeah, I mean, he's only 4 away from Terraformer, but he's probably never getting that. What I could have done is just SP the greenery in the middle and then gotten the 8% bonus by converting next to that. So I was at 27 MC. That's 23, but I get 8 MC back. So I could have SP greenery for the bonus temperature bump, and that would have taken me up to 35 TR. Then I could just claim my milestone after that. I mean, I had a milestone with Gardener anyway, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe SP greenery there, in hindsight, would have been better. Okay, but we draw with Dimension Contest. Just take Lightning Harvest because the other cards weren't really relevant. And sure enough, he plays the SP greenery, gets the bonus temperature bump. So yeah, in hindsight, I think I should have just prevented that by SPing myself. Yeah, I think that would have been better. I'm playing using Sacrifice to play bushes. This is a little bit risky because Herbivores is not now online and he's not too far off from fish. So maybe this is just not necessary. But then again, I do get to play NRA next gen that way, and I have farming, so I'm probably looking to get some plant prod anyway. Now I can convert, and again, like, I gave him the temperature bump, but we're still 17 points ahead. So it's still looking great. Play the Eos Chasma on small animals. And we go to the next draft. Think here, Interstellar Colony Ship is quite good for him. And it could even be playable for me later on. That's nice scoring. Corporate Stronghold, honestly not bad. Very cheap city for me. And now I'm getting some more plants. So I could potentially take Corporate Stronghold, just plop it down here, blocking his Ocean Walk, and then get conversion next to it. That's looking pretty nice, actually. Gene Repair is okay. It's whatever. Same with Protected Value. They're just okay cards. I think it's between Corporate and ICS here, but I probably cut ICS from him. Yeah, that's what I do. And then, wow, these are some cards. So, large convoy, obviously great point scoring cards. But kelp farming is about to come online, and it's already online for him. So I think that's the pick. Yep. And then here corporate stronghold comes back, and I think I take that and keep it. So I would also keep ICS here because we're just one tag away from that. So I think I keep the first three, yes. And I do make the corporate stronghold play. I think I go here and convert. So that's maximum gonna be a 2-point corporate stronghold, but it's so cheap. Like I got 8 MC back, so the card basically paid for itself already, and I got the conversion to protect my plants and so on. So I think that's just a good play. He's playing the Ion Mining Industries, so quite a funny setup from Gen 1 Soletta to the Gen 8 Ion Mining Industries, but now it's clear that he has at least 3 Jove molds, because otherwise he wouldn't be playing this. And we already know that we passed 2 of them to him, Ganymede Colony and Wife. So if he has TG as well, things could start to get pretty scary. I mean, we are 17 points ahead, but these Joves can potentially score a lot of points now. And he's playing Gene Repair. So he's sitting at 17 heat now, and at this point, I think it's pretty clear that he's going to start sitting on his heat because he's behind, but he has this Jove scoring going on. That's a little bit concerning for me. But we are at -8, which means with like deep well heating and a few asteroids, maybe I can get the bonus ocean and so on. Activate AI Central. Those aren't the greatest draws. I mean, Media Archives could be okay. I sell with Electrocat, and he's playing Livestock, so he has more scoring with some passive scoring with viral enhancers. That's honestly pretty scary. He's looking like he's scaling better than me at this moment, so I need to definitely push the pace of the game from now on. Okay, we draw Dust Seals, which is useless. And he passes. I don't remember what I did here, but I imagine, well, it's either NRA or SP Ocean for Kelp, but I think NRA is just a stronger play. Yeah, so I do that. Go up to 6 plant prod, and that's nice because now it looks like we can finish the oxygen track relatively easily. I mean, it's still going to require a little bit of work, but with kelp farming and NRA, we can do that. And then we can probably SP some asteroids here. There are also 4 oceans remaining, which is a bit of a concern, but you know. So I played the imported advanced GHG there. Relatively expensive, and it's only going to give me like 1 extra heat bump, but I think I mean I was basically getting that heat bump in starting in actually it wouldn't have been until Gen 11 until I got that. So playing that card, I get an immediate heat bump in Gen 9, and I think that's worth it. Okay, here we have some cards. We all know Tundra Farming is a bad card, and Asteroid Mining Consortium is looking like it's going to be a 4-point card for him, so mandatory cut. Here, I think you just take Hired Raiders. That's what I do. And these cards are not relevant, so I just take Microbes, I imagine, yes, and then I'm going to keep the Hired Raiders and skip on the rest of the cards. That's pretty straightforward. Now he's playing the Large Convoy, getting a bunch of livestock, so good for him. But on the other hand, it's also 1 less ocean we need to worry about. And it also gives me some plants with Arctic Algae. And then he funds Thermalist, and kind of an obvious fund, like he's sitting on 27 heat with 9 prod, and he's the player who's looking to stall the temperature track here, so Thermalist is kind of a free fund for him. But this is where I think playing this Soletta can often get you into trouble because you invest in 7 heat production, but then it turns out it doesn't really pan out to be a good Soletta game for you. As in this case, like he ends up in a situation where he doesn't want to use heat, and then most of the Soletta value just goes to waste. Okay, I draw with AI. By the way, I did say that he's the one with better scaling, so I do have some pretty good scaling myself. I have the triple card draw. I have 6 plant prod. He has no plant prod, so it's not like I'm doing all that poorly myself. It's just that it's starting to look like he has a bunch of Jove malts that's going to score very well. So I need to look out for that. But things aren't looking that bad. Okay, converts on the Ocean Walk here. And he plays the birds. That's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And that's more scaling for him. And with viral, that's already 2 points. Fortunately, we have Predators that is now online. And he hasn't played Protected Tabs yet, so that's great. And I do play Predators, eat from his birds. And that's good news because livestock and birds were scoring 2 points per gen for him, but Predators just immediately neutralizes that by scoring 2 points itself. So now we're kind of neutral on the animal front. He's activating livestock and he's playing Terraforming. Didn't he watch Fred Pacifist's videos? Oh well. We draw Space Elevator. Maybe a potential mineral dump, but not really. I'd say I'd rather be playing a card like Conway from Europa to terraform. But first we raid him. He's playing the Lichen, so all of these plant tags this late is telling me he probably has insects. Otherwise, why would he be playing Lichen Gen 9? I sell with Electrocat, and we're skipping second action. He passes. So he still didn't play the insects. I'm just using my action, then converting my heat, and I'm at 54 MC, and with deep wall heating, we can easily get the bonus ocean here, just by S being an asteroid. That's gonna get me an ocean, and then I can play Conway from Europa for another ocean and some more plants. We're now up to 7 plants, and kelp farming is online. So I use Psychrophiles on kelp farming, which gives me conversion in the pockets here, I imagine. Yep. We're now at 12% oxygen, so it's starting to look more and more like we might be able to finish this game in Gen 10. Like we can get 1 granary for free. We still need, if he starts stalling on every parameter, we need a granary, an ocean, and 4 temperature bumps. So it's not that easy, actually. But we do have media archives as backup. Okay, go to the Gen 10 draft, and I'm very, very relieved to see Terraforming Ganymede. That's the final molt. If he gets that card and we're not able to finish in Gen 10, because I don't think he has the money to play all the 3 remaining Joves in this gen with 62 and plus 12, so basically with 74 MC, and I don't think that's enough. Well, maybe it is. Maybe he almost exactly has the money to play those 3 actually. Yeah, but in any case, never in a million years do I give him TG here. Giving him herbivores is annoying, but what can you do? These aren't relevant cards, so you can take whatever. Just take Magnetizer because it could be a point for him. And then the ocean comes back, and this is definitely cheaper than an SP ocean. So I take that because I'm looking to end the game, and it's just that 1 card for me. Yep. So I imagine here we'll be converting our plants, probably just next to my city, yeah, over here for 2 more plants. and standard a greenery here, also next to my city. So that's the oxygen track taken care of, and then I have the cache for SP asteroids, and with Electrocat and with Subterranean Reservoir, it looks like I have enough to actually SP out of this game. He activates birds and livestock. I activate my Preds before he plays protected tabs. Sells off a steel before he can take it with sabotage. So now I do have the money to just end the game, but we know he's going to score very well with his Jove. So in this situation, I think it's important to just bide your time. And I have 16 cards to his 7. I have some actions. So I'm just going to take my actions and start selling off cards and just wait and see, because he's going to be forced to play his Joves essentially. And then I can see whether I'm able to end into a win, because in this situation, I'm scoring, about the same as him on animals. I mean, it's basically equal. And by the way, ants still doesn't have a single point on it, which just goes to show how inefficient ants can be against psychrophiles sometimes. But like I said, we're even on animal scoring. And then I have more plants, and we have similar economies. And I have this ICS that could become playable and so on. So if he outscores me this gen with Joves, I can just decide to not end the game. I mean, obviously he can then just end the game with his heat, so maybe it's not a relevant thing at all. Yeah, so maybe, but as a general rule, like if he only has the Jove molds for scoring, then if I see that he surpasses my score, I could just take it to Gen 11 and potentially outscore him again with my plants and so on. But yeah, basically both of us have the capacity to end here, but I'd rather have him take heat here. That's the thing. Like, he can take heat and still win Thermalist, at least take some heat bumps. But I'd rather have him take the 3 points, and then, which means that I don't have to use 14 MC or basically 56 MC to finish out the temperature track, because then I can play cards like farming, maybe physics complex into ICS, windmills. I have pets. Like, I have some cards that can score me points here. So I'd rather play those than SP asteroids. So I'm not just gonna sit on and wait for a little bit. But he funded Banker, and sure enough, that's a very safe fund for him. Not much I can do about that. So the awards are basically decided because I'm leading by 10 on Landlord, so he's never catching that. We're obviously not catching him on Thermalist. And not on Banker. So he uses birds, use small animals, just sell off the cards, stall for a little bit. Sure enough, he starts playing the Jove Malls, so he's playing Ganymede Colony. He's now only 4 points behind. And then he plays Wife, so he's now 3 points ahead. Fortunately, that's the last Jove Malt there. I'm just selling. Then he converts heat twice. I was very surprised by this, but again, like I said, he has now played his main scoring, and he only has 4 cards left. So if we go to next gen, with my 16 cards, my 3 card draw, I'm almost certainly gonna outscore him in the next gen. So he probably needs to win this gen. So I can see why he's taking heat, but at the same time, I think it's good for me to just sit there and let him take his heat, because I'm only 5 points behind now, and I think I can easily catch up with that. If he just ends the temperature track for me, I can play my Subterranean Reservoir and all my points, and I should be able to win still. But I just keep stalling. He's converting twice, so he did finish off the temperature track. And we're stalling, and kind of an interesting situation arose here because he used up as much of his heat as he could to finish up the temperature track. He's still going up to 15 heat in the final phase, conversion phase. I'm only at 7. But if you take a look at my hand, I do have this imported GHG, which is very cheap. It's going to give me 4 extra heats. I do have mobile area, which is discounted by 3. It's going to give me 4 extra heat. And I do have air break ammonia asteroids, so maybe, just maybe, we can have a look at doing something on this Thermalist award. But I just keep stalling, just because I can outstall him here, and I get perfect information on what to do. And now he SP's Ocean. Subterranean Reservoir was efficient scoring for me. Like, that would have been 6 MC for a point here on this Ocean tile. But I'm perfectly happy with him paying essentially 14 MC for an Ocean, because that means that's 14 MC that's just going to score him 1 point, whereas otherwise he could have used that on something else, like just an SP Greenery or something. Like, I guess SP Greenery is also just 1 point for him. But maybe he has something else on those 4 cards that he would like to play. So I'm perfectly happy with that. And he plays Advanced Ecosystems, good point scoring card. I'm just selling off a bit, and he's selling 2 cards using Psychrophiles on farming. And he sells his final patent, so he's done. So now I need to score 9 points, or rather I have 2 conversions coming in, so that's 4 points just there. So actually I only need to score 5 points, which should be relatively easy here. Like, for instance, I could play Physics Complex into ICS, into windmills, into like Lightning Harvest. That's already 6 points. That would already flip it. But like I said, there is this potential Thermalist flip. So what I do, I play the imported GHG, and I convert next to my city, I imagine. Yep. And this whole area could go on 2 steel. So after paying, I can pay for it with 2 steel as well. So that's essentially 15 MC, but I get 4 back. So it's 11 MC essentially, because I can use the steel on cards that score points. So I do play the mobile area. And if you look at the situation now, I'm going up to 15 heat, which is exactly what he's getting. So mobile area there, essentially only 11 MC for 5 points to equalize Thermalist. But I ain't stopping there, so I'm playing the Aerobrake Ammonia Asteroid for a Titanium and 20 MC, so 23 MC. Quite expensive for a card that's basically doing nothing, but that does end up flipping Thermalist, which is another 5 points. So 23 MC for 5 points is not all that bad. It's actually more efficient than Interstellar Colony Ship. There was a slight inaccuracy on my part here, because I could have played that first, and then I would have gotten 2 more Psychrophiles to use to pay for farming. But then I would have basically, if I'd done that, I would have also revealed that I'm flipping Thermalist. So that's why I wanted to wait on these heat cards. Now we get the media archives, and we can play Physics Complex to enable ICS. And then I can afford just one of these cards. And I guess even if I did use 2 extra Psychrophiles on farming, I couldn't have afforded both of these. So it's fine. But turns out it was a pretty decisive victory in the end, because I could outstall him in the final gen. I got perfect information and could just perfectly calculate Thermalist and how to flip that. So I found that pretty funny that he started with Soletta Gen 1, and at some point when he funded Thermalist, he was sitting at, I believe, 37 heat resources, whereas I had 0 heat production and just like 6 heat or something. And then in the end, I actually end up winning it. But I think it illustrates again the problem with this card, Soletta, because you just invest in so much heat production early on, and it's not always the case that you know whether you're going to need all that heat. If you're playing a Giga Rush with Ecoline, then sure, it can be a fine play. But if you're playing Inventrix, keeping 9 cards, probably not. And I think that's also one of the main reasons like this card Soletta has such a bad win rate, even among strong players, because sometimes you'll see players, just because they have the titanium preludes and can afford the card, they play it. But I think here it wasn't really congruent with the setup. And probably if you ask Abstein, he also, part of the reason he played it was just to meme a little bit, and he's like he said, he thought it would be funny to beat me with that. But I ended up winning the game, which meant that I advanced to the semi-finals in the tournament, and probably going to cover that game next week. But until then, have a good one.